morning and welcome back to the channel. Today's topic that we're going to be talking about is how to make friends, especially in college, especially on Zoom University. I know that at least for me, going to college, knowing how to make friends, knowing that I would be okay socially was probably my biggest stressor. And I mean, it turned out fine. I'm sure it will turn out more than fine for you, but I know that it's hard and you can't help but feel kind of nervous about it. So that's what we're talking about today. So first, we're gonna talk about in general, making friends in college. When and what situations are you gonna be making friends? So I would say for me that on the very first day, actually, I met one of my best friends. The first day I got there, I met her, and we're actually living together next semester, and I met her literally through another friend. I was gonna meet up with someone else who I had talked to a bit, and she brought all of these people, and then I became friends with them. So one is making friends through friends and constantly kind of growing through that. You might be oh, maybe that's a little networky, maybe you're using your friends, but you're really not. Everyone's meeting each other's friends, everyone's just trying to grow socially, and you meet so many great people that way, and I promise you, it's great. In terms of when you're meeting people, I would say you don't really meet people in classes as much, but it's mainly through clubs that you're meeting people, and then I find that classes are a great way to kind of reconnect with people you're already friends with. If you have similar classes in them, then it's a great opportunity to get to piece it and do a lot of homework with them, and that's how you kind of take that next step to actually becoming good friends who hang out. And in terms of clubs, I cannot stress enough how important clubs are to making friends. Clubs, sports, especially sports, but that's where you're gonna find your community, and you're automatically gonna see them routinely. You're automatically gonna have reasons to hang out with them outside of classes. And most importantly, clubs always go on trips and retreats, and those are such an amazing way to actually be in a small group setting with people and meet them and just become really good friends with them. In terms of how do you approach people and how do you actually become friends with people? So first off, do not think that you cannot just walk up to someone and start talking to them, because especially in the beginning of the school year, everyone's in social butterfly mode slash they're so open to making new friends. It's kind of insane. And even if you think that normally going up to someone and just introducing yourself, or even just sitting next to someone randomly in the dining hall, or sitting next to a random person in class and actually starting to talk to them, all of those things are totally okay. And please do not be too shy about it, because you will regret it. And that's actually the biggest area of growth for me, was that I used to be kind of shy about it, but I kicked that to the side in a week or two, and I became so much more social, so much more willing to talk to people, and it really paid off. And I promise you that the other person isn't gonna be why is she so weird? Why is this chick talking to me? No, they're gonna be oh my gosh, I'm so grateful this girl talked to me, because I was too scared to do it first. But I have other friends, one of my friends, she's so shy, and she's always been really shy, and she went to college, burst out, became the social butterfly, and it paid off so much for her. So really, just talk to random people, even at a dining table, or in the dining hall, just sit next to someone random and be hey, do you mind if I sit here? And then talk to them. And then, I'll tell you a story. So in the very beginning of the school year, I think this was the first few weeks of school, I was waiting outside my dorm with some of my friends because we were waiting for our Uber. And there was this random international student who I had seen around a lot, but I had never talked to him. He was sitting on the bench outside of our dorm, and so I was sitting down waiting. So I decided to go sit down while we were waiting, and I just started talking to him. And we had so much in common, or we had so much to talk about. And he was so chill. He was an international student who studied in the UK. He's from Malaysia. He had this awesome story. And my dad actually grew up in Malaysia, so we could relate to that. And it's really hard. I very, very rarely meet people from Malaysia or who have any connection to Malaysia. So I thought it was so cool. And we became really good friends. I think he's 3 or 4 years older, so there's also that age gap, which would have prevented us from ever really meeting. But we hung out a couple times. He invited me to play cards with his other international students' friends, and overall it was just it was such a spontaneous thing that I did. I literally just sat down and talked to him, and he still remembers how like random it was, but it turned out really great and fun. So you never know where conversations will take you, is my point. And you also never know who you're gonna meet. Like, I remember there was a girl that I decided to join running club one day. I was running, and so that's another great thing. I was just running, and I met this girl who was a year or two above me, and we were like running together, and then she turned out to be part of Traders, which is a club that I'm currently in, and which is one of the most important clubs to me. And that was just super cool that I got to like meet her first, and then I became part of Traders. So you never know who you're gonna meet, and so that's kind of the thing. Like, always be prepared to meet someone who's gonna be really important in your life when you don't even know it yet. But in terms of like how to like actually build friendships, and especially when you don't really have time, right? Like, you don't have time to go like hang out with people all the time, yada yada. So how do you like make time to invest in those friendships and build those friendships? So the three ways that I thought were really great for making friends, hanging out with friends, etc. The first one is at the beginning of the school year. Oh my God, everyone's like posting online, like the little like on the like the class Facebook pages. Everyone's like this, like, oh my God, hey, I'm from this state and I really love like reading, hiking, and working out. Everyone always says it. They're like working out, and like everyone has like, I really love working out. Hit me up if you want to be gym buddies. We can have fitness goals for the year. Everyone does that, I swear, I promise you. So actually take advantage of that. People that I was like meeting, that I was talking to a bit, we would be like, someone would casually bring up like, yeah, haha, I'm trying to get fit, and then you can literally arrange to go to the gym with them. Like that girl I was talking to you about who I'm gonna be rooming with next year. Like, we literally, in like the first week of school, we went to the gym together. It's such a great way because you know you're gonna get that workout in anyways, and you can like run on the treadmill with them or whatever, and it honestly motivates you to work out more and like go harder and more intense. But it's the biggest thing is find ways to incorporate your friends into things you already do. And that's kind of like the overarching theme of the three things I'm gonna say. So the first thing is like, go to the gym with them. It's great. And kind of like, of course, like this one is not one of the three things, but like actually it kind of is. Anyways, the second thing is going out is doing homework and P-sets with them. Always invite your friends. Be like, hey, like I saw you're in my class, in this class too. I feel like the P-set's kind of hard. You want to do it together this weekend? And I feel like the biggest thing that like really helps you get closer to someone is when you go off campus with them, because then it's just like the two of you or the three of you or whatever, and you're really just like, it's almost like going out to hang out, versus if you're just like, oh, let's meet in like this study lounge. That's less personal and you're less like isolated. And I feel like when you're isolated, it's more of a like personal trip / interaction. So with that being said, I really recommend going to like a coffee shop or something like that, or boba shop, to piece it with your friends. Be like, hey, like I'll be like, and first off, you'd be surprised how many people do this. I would go with my roommate last year, Nina, and I would also go with one of my suite mates, and like we would just go to a coffee shop all the time. Not all the time because it gets expensive, but we just go spend the entire day, crank out homework. First off, I'm so productive at coffee shops, so it like boosted my productivity by so much. I would go to those coffee shops regardless of if I was with someone, but when you go with someone, like you're walking there, you get to talk to them on the way there, on the way back, you can talk to them while you work. Sometimes you're in the same classes. Overall, it's just such a great system because you're super productive. It's an excuse to like get off campus. It's not awkward, and the other person's got to do homework too. I cannot stress enough how great of a way it is to meet up with someone, and also it's really convenient because you can kind of come and go as you please. Like if you're done with homework, you can just head back first. Like you're not like super dependent on people's schedules. You can stay really flexible, especially because in college, like everyone's schedules are different. Everyone's doing different things, but it's a great way to meet up. And you can, sorry, that was really loud, but you can also like extend it to being like, oh, like you want to grab food later, and usually like you probably are gonna want to grab food later. Like, I cannot emphasize how much I love doing this in college. And I did this a lot in high school too. So I would go do like college apps with friends, homework with friends, or like a boba shop or something, and it was always great. Wait, I actually just forgot it. What was the third thing? I talked about the gym. Okay, is meals. Everyone's gotta eat meals. Really try to hook up with people during meals. And when I say hook up, I mean like link up and not the other kind of hook up. But I have a friend, his name is Andy, and I remember in the beginning of the school year, he was like, yeah, I have this goal where I'm gonna try to like not eat any meals alone. And he like, as in like, he's gonna try to like make that effort to make sure he's coordinating every meal with friends. And he only did that at the beginning of the school year. And I was like, that is such a great idea. And so just like going to the dining hall, it's being like, yeah, you wanna eat at like Massey Dining Hall around noon on Tuesday or something like that. And it's such a good way to link up with people who you don't really get to see, who has a really busy schedule. You know they gotta eat too, you gotta eat too. And the dining hall, or even just cooking with people, like meal times and like doing those kinds of things are such a great way. I loved cooking with my friends. It was so much fun, even if it didn't turn out well. But if you are on a dining plan, that is so much easier. And one of the best things about it is that a lot of the times they'll either like bring other people, or you'll go to the dining hall, maybe they'll see other people they know and you'll sit with their friends. But it's a really good way of not only like eating with your friend, but sometimes it can turn into like meeting your friends as friends and like becoming friends with more people. But I always just think that eating at dining halls are really great, and meals especially are such a great way of bonding with people. And especially, as I said, like a lot of times you'll get to eat and sit with the people, and a couple of the people at the table that who you're eating with, you're not gonna know. So you get to meet more people, or you get to become close with people who you yourself wouldn't really be close enough to take initiative to like hang out with them. But yeah, it's great. And then I'm sure you're all wondering, zoomU. For those poor freshmen who are on zoomU, how do you make friends, right? I kind of have a little intuition about this, but first off, as I said before, doing homework with people is so important. Really find people who you can do P-sets with and do work calls, or which is like, so like I actually do this, it helps me sometimes, also they're kind of fun, where it's like a merge between FaceTiming people, but it's kind of weird sometimes to FaceTime people when you don't really know them too well. You can be like, hey, you want a work call, like you want to choose a time to do this piece and call about it, like FaceTime call, do something more personal than just texting, right? Turning on your camera, seeing that person face to face and talking to them is gonna make such a big difference. So I would definitely do that. And also try to make an effort to still join clubs, because clubs, like in terms of like my end, like being someone who tries to like organize clubs and tries to reach out to freshmen, I know that like clubs are making such a big effort to try to help freshmen and people on zoomU get involved in those clubs. Recruiting for clubs is still happening, and they're still gonna be a really good way for you to meet people and for you to kind of find a little bit of a community. And then another thing with that is I would say like maybe consider rushing or recruitment. Even if that's not something you would normally do, it is a really good family to have, and like having a fam line, having a small group of people you can talk to as your go-to people, or having upperclassmen in your fam line who can guide you is going to be really helpful during these times. I know Greek life is different everywhere. At MIT, it's super chill. A lot of people join it. You don't have to be like fratty or like that sorority girl to join it. I'm in a sorority. I wouldn't say that I'm like a sorority girl. Like I just never imagined myself in a sorority growing up, but I am. And so that's another thing that I would say. And then another thing, one last thing, is just about like how you kind of portray yourself. So don't be someone who's a flake. Like absolutely do not be a flake, because people are not gonna wanna invite you. I promise you, it just shows the other person, whether you mean it to do or not, that you don't care. Don't do that. Don't be a flake. And kind of in that, like, be good about responding. Like, don't wait 3 days to respond. No conversation, no genuine friendship is gonna come out when it's like 2-day delays between every single message. Like, when you take too long to respond, when you're flaking, all of those behaviors, just tell the other person kind of like, oh, I don't really care that much. Like, oh, get back to you later, like you're not that important. Whereas someone who like responds all the time, sends really enthusiastic messages, you're like, oh my god, this person like actually cares about our friendship. Aw, how cute. Another thing is find things to bond about with people, like a lot of things like cooking. I love cooking, and especially when I cook something, I'll like send my friends pictures. That's a really great way for me to like kind of stay in touch with people even when we don't necessarily have something to talk about all the time. So cooking, I know a lot of people are doing like cooking, quarantine cooking, baking. Boba is really big at MIT. Boy, oh boy. Memes, send memes to friends. I have like friends from high school and I don't talk to them, but I send them memes and they send me memes, and it just tells me that they're thinking about me, and it's great. I think that zoomU will definitely be challenging, but it's gonna be okay because everyone's on zoomU. The biggest thing is that everyone's in the same position. Everyone's trying to make friends. Also, you can do like FaceTime workouts with friends, kind of like adaptive workouts. If like you're talking to someone and they're like, oh, like seriously, like just make everything virtual. Like you can do lunch dates with people. Like that's totally normal. Even if it's not normal per se, like if you ask someone being like, hey, like on some random day, be like, hey, like you seem really cool. Would you want to FaceTime sometime, get to know each other better? Totally okay. It's the same as approaching someone randomly on a dorm bench. And people aren't, and if they're not chill with that, okay, they'll say no, but chances are they are going to be chill with that. So you really have to be comfortable with sending messages like that, and I promise you, it's not weird. Everyone's gonna be like, everyone's gonna adapt. You gotta adapt, improvise, overcome, do these things. Or you can be like, hey, you wanna FaceTime and like do a workout? Maybe that's a little personal, I don't know, up to you. That's it for the video. Feel free to subscribe. I'm gonna be doing a lot more little like chit chats coming up, and definitely if you have any questions, like personal situational questions, feel free to drop a comment and I'll try to respond. Or my Instagram is @milksandmasha, so if you want to DM me, my DMs are open. So that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!